Speaking of community.
All right, things you didn't know about a little movie that was released in 1999. Who remembers that scene?
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. Was that
I
at
don't
the
remember
drive-through?
that scene.
Was it the drive-through?
Yeah, so this scene, that's Kevin Spacey's wife, which, by the way, I feel anytime I talk about like a Kevin Spacey character or anybody like that, not character, but human being, we need to preface with like, he's garbage. Like, he's not a good human being in any way, shape, or form, but it doesn't mean we don't talk about the things that have already existed, but we just need to preface
Look at
that.
Dr. Disrespect. Speaking of trash people.
So this was the scene where that's his wife, and she's essentially, she was just making out with that dude next to her in the car. He's working at the drive-thru, and he busts them. And that's kind of the downfall of their marriage. But of course, we are talking about American Beauty, which was released September 17th, 1999. It made $365.3 million at the box office on just a $15 million budget. It ended up winning 5 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Cinematography. Now, there was a story in the news a few years before this that actually inspired the movie. Do you guys know what that is?
Was
Can't be a
it
good story.
the one with the teacher and the kid? Oh,
Amy Fisher and
There you
Joey
go.
Buttafuoco, which, by the way, I can
Buttafuoco.
never pronounce his name normally anymore. If you've ever seen News Radio, there is a whole episode where Andy Dick's character, which it's the only show he's even tolerable in ever, but he goes live on the air to talk about this story with Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco, and he screws up and he drops the F-bomb live on the air. So for the whole rest of the whole rest of the episode, he's trying to like Buttafuoco, like pronounce it properly so he doesn't drop another F-bomb. So if you're not familiar with this story, it happened in the early 90s, 1992 to be precise. At the age of 17, Amy Fisher shot and severely wounded Mary Jo Buttafuoco, Joey Buttafuoco's wife.
Now, real quickly in Andy Dick's defense, which never really happens, so I'm going to do this real fast. Two roles I can think of. One we were talking about before the show started, which is in the Army Now. That wasn't too bad.
Okay.
And then when he played the blowjob instructor in Old School, that shit was funny.
All right. You got 2 more on there. So there's a few roles that he's tolerable in. But News Radio, I thought he was fantastic. But that's also
Great show.
easily one of my favorite shows of all time. So the famous rose petal scene, it was actually just supposed to be a pool. So this is the weird daydream that Kevin Spacey has about this girl, who, by the way, is in high school.
right. Cheerleader, right?
As the cheerleader. But director Sam Mendes came up with the idea, and they ended up having to shoot it a couple of different times. They actually shot it because like it shows like the rose petals falling. They shot it 6 times slower than normal speed. So Mina Suvari had to basically flap her arms up and down like a demented butterfly because they were filming it so fast. Now, if you remember the poster, like this was one, but this is the one that most people probably remember.
Yeah.
That is the
an
stomach of
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. No, it's model Chloe Hunter, actually. There's a lot of people who thought it was Mina Suvari, but it's actually Chloe Hunter's stomach on that. Now, the role of Angela, which was played by Mina Suvari, and this is obviously that rose petal scene where you got that, busting through there, and then it's Kevin Spacey's whole weird daydream about being a perv, which art, I guess, imitating life. That role was originally offered to Kirsten Dunst. And she turned it down, saying later, quote, "I was only 15 then, and I didn't want to kiss Kevin Spacey or be seen lying naked in those rose petals." So,
Fair.
good job for Kirsten Dunst.
She then went and kissed a guy upside down in Spider-Man.
That's true. That is true. Although I believe she was a couple years older at that point. Now, if you want to get even grosser here on this one, and yes, I'm talking about even grosser than Kevin Spacey's character, perving on a 17-year-old, Thora Birch. she needed parental permission to go topless in her one scene that's in this movie because she was 17 years old.
Dr. Disrespect loves this movie, by the way, probably.
She said, to me, the scene made sense. It wasn't something that wouldn't be in there. It's something that would happen. Or it wasn't something that shouldn't be in there. It was something that would happen. Now, I'm not for going back and editing things for movies. You know how they talk about one of the famous ones was from E.T. when the one cop had the shotgun at the roadblock scene and they like changed it to a walkie-talkie or something. I think we would all be perfectly fine if we edited the scene where she's showing her 17-year-old breasts. Am I right?
Fair.
And finally, the cheerleading scene was choreographed by Paula Abdul.
Andy Dick. Oh.
Now that would have been some amazing trivia that you probably didn't know about American Beauty.